Stop being nice. Escape the trap of people-pleasing. Stoic bloom. What if your kindness is costing you more than you realize? Have you ever felt exhausted from being nice, only to be overlooked, disrespected, or even used? Today we're going to break down why always being nice isn't noble. It's self-sabotage, and the Stoics have a better way. Let's begin. Part 1. The roots of people-pleasing. People-pleasing often masquerades as kindness, but its true origin is rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of not being enough. And so we smile, agree, and bend over backwards, not out of love, but out of anxiety. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's the Stoic antidote. Because when you start living authentically, setting boundaries, saying no, choosing discomfort over dishonesty, people will misunderstand you. And that's okay. The problem isn't kindness, it's conditional kindness. Traded for approval. It's exhausting. And it builds quiet resentment because deep down, you know this isn't you, it's a performance. To escape this trap, you must return to your logos, your inner reason. Ask yourself, am I doing this from virtue or from fear? When kindness is rooted in virtue, it's powerful. When it's rooted in fear, it's manipulation of yourself and others. So, if you're ready to be free, not just liked, start with this. Stop negotiating your worth. You don't owe niceness to those who drain your peace. If that stirred something inside you, it's not just philosophy, it's your awakening. Subscribe to Stoic Bloom for more truths like this. Share this with someone who's stuck in the trap of too nice. Leave a comment. What's one boundary you're ready to reclaim? Stoic Bloom. Be kind, not compliant. Part 2. The cost of constant niceness. Let's be honest. Being nice all the time is expensive. Not in dollars, but in energy, peace, and self-respect. When you constantly suppress your needs, silence your opinions, and force a smile, you pay for it in ways others never see. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The Stoic doesn't seek to be perceived as good. He seeks to live in alignment with his nature. If you're constantly trying to appear nice, you're living for perception, not principle. What happens when you live this way? People begin to expect your silence. Your absence of resistance becomes their permission to overstep. And slowly, you disappear, not physically, but spiritually. You lose the ability to stand your ground. Your yes means nothing because your no never exists. But here's the catch. Nice isn't always kind. In fact, forced niceness often leads to suppressed anger, resentment, and passive aggression. That's not kindness. That's internal corrosion. True Stoic strength is found in courage. The courage to say no. The courage to disappoint others if it means remaining loyal to yourself. Not rudely, not emotionally, but rationally, firmly, and with grace. Remember, being calm doesn't mean being compliant. Being composed doesn't mean being convenient. Own your boundaries. Don't just protect your peace, prioritize it. Stoic Bloom. Say less, mean more. Part 3. The power of discomfort. If you've ever said yes just to avoid tension, you already know. Comfort can be a cage. It keeps you smiling when you want to speak up. It keeps you nodding when your heart's screaming no. But Stoicism teaches us that discomfort isn't the enemy. Comfort is. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of our fear around saying no or setting limits is anticipation, mental suffering we create. But once you act, you realize the world doesn't end. You survive. You breathe deeper. Growth begins where comfort ends. Every time you choose to speak your truth, to protect your time, to honor your boundaries. You stretch your soul. Yes, people might get upset. Yes, you might lose some approval, but you gain something far more valuable: self-trust. And once you trust yourself, you no longer need others to validate your worth. You stop bending. You start building. So if you've been hiding behind nice because you fear what might happen, try this instead. Embrace the discomfort. Make it your teacher. Sit within like a stoic warrior, sharpening his mind. Because freedom isn't found in saying yes. It's found in the courageous, self-honoring no. If this resonated, don't just keep it to yourself. Help someone else escape the people-pleasing trap. Share this video, like it, and drop a comment. What's one uncomfortable truth you are ready to face? Stoic Bloom. Growth begins where comfort ends. Part 4, when niceness becomes self-betrayal. There's a point where being overly nice stops being kind and starts becoming an act of betrayal, not to others, but to yourself. You begin to betray your needs, your values, and your truth in order to maintain peace. But peace that requires self-abandonment isn't peace, it's surrender. Seneca warned us, "You act like mortals in all that you fear and like immortals in all that you desire." In other words, you fear conflict like you'll die from it, but you chase approval as if it will last forever. That imbalance is the heart of self-betrayal. When you constantly adjust your personality, your time, and your truth to fit someone else's expectations, you become a shapeshifter, a ghost in your own life. Eventually, you lose touch with what you actually think, feel, or want. But the Stoic path calls us to live with integrity, and that means honoring your truth even when it's inconvenient, even when it shakes relationships, even when you have to stand alone. Being honest doesn't make you rude. Being direct doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear, and clarity is a kindness far deeper than politeness. So ask yourself, are you being nice or are you betraying yourself? The line is thin, but once you cross it, you'll feel it in your bones. Stoic Bloom. Clarity is the new kindness. Conclusion. Stop shrinking. Reclaim your inner power. If there's one truth that runs through every part of this journey, it's this: the world doesn't need more people pleasers. It needs more people who are rooted, grounded, and real. People who live with courage instead of compromise. Who choose clarity over comfort. Who are kind, not because they're afraid to say no, but because they understand the strength it takes to honor both themselves and others. The Stoics weren't interested in approval. They were interested in integrity. They believed that a good life isn't about keeping the peace outside. It's about protecting the peace within. So here's your invitation. Stop shrinking to fit someone else's mold. Start expanding into your full truth. You don't need to be aggressive, you don't need to be cruel, but you do need to be honest, unapologetically. And if this message lit a fire in you, don't let it die out. Subscribe to Stoic Bloom, where we don't teach gimmicks or games, but guide you back to your authentic power with ancient wisdom. Share this video with someone who needs to remember who they are. Like it to affirm your own journey, and drop a comment below. What part of you are you reclaiming today? Because Stoicism isn't just philosophy, it's a compass. And every step you take toward your truth is a step toward freedom. Stoic Bloom. Be real, be rooted, be free.